a lot more it's a lot more based on, we can argue till the cows come home about definitions and things, right? We
Right.
could be here all night. I could turn around and say a table is something with, a flat plank in the top and four legs, and you could argue with me that it's actually, a thing with three legs and one stability peg.
Hmm.
We could argue on definitions for days. Why are we arguing on definitions of things when the definitions of them aren't important? What I personally feel the issue is, and the people who do are on my side of TikTok, which is probably the more moderate TRA side now, is what does it actually mean to be a trans person now?
To be a trans person?
What does it actually, like, we had, if we go 15 years ago, right?
Hmm.
We knew what a trans person was.
Did
We
you?
knew we knew that there was social standards in place, right?
I was a trans person 15 years ago.
Yeah,
No,
I
I was
was too.
20
I
years
was
ago.
afraid to come out because, like, my understanding 15 years ago, like, I was a teenager because I'm 37 now. So I was roughly around a teenager, 20s, around that age. And my understanding then was, like, to be trans, you had to come out and fit within this binary, gaining the understanding we have now. Like, I don't see myself as a trans woman or as a woman, but I see myself as trans femme, so more along the lines of a trans woman, but I wouldn't be calling myself a woman because it's not how I see myself. So I can't fit into that binary.
Right. I'm actually on the opposite end of the spectrum as Echo, and I'm mask non-binary. So even though I didn't have this term non-binary to associate with my gender, whenever I was a child, I knew I wasn't a boy and I knew I wasn't a girl. I knew I didn't fit those societal standards. I knew I didn't fit those societal expectations. I knew that I didn't see myself as a little girl that everybody else saw me as. Um, I knew that I didn't look the way that I saw myself, if
mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
No, that's I
Okay.
know.
And this was represented in many, many, many ways when I was a kid before I understood what any of this even meant. Um, I also grew up in West Texas, right, with minimal exposure to any of this, and it still existed. I still was there. When people called me a boy, I was like, meh, not really. When people called me a girl, I was like, meh, not
Not
really.
really.
Yeah, like I didn't fit those categories, right? Those were not categories for me. And I expressed it in the words that I had, but the words were not available that we have now 30 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay?
Our wordings change, and that changes all the time, right?
Right.
We're,
All
we're
throughout
constantly,
history.
yeah, we're constantly
Um,
coming up with new things,
right. So,
new
but I still
definitions.
knew that this wasn't who I was when I was a child,
Exactly,
you know,
right?
before I
We all have
understood
different
what
life
it meant to
experiences,
be
right?
a woman or a man. Like I
Exactly,
knew that I was neither.
exactly.
I knew that I was closer to a guy than a girl, but I didn't. But I knew I wasn't a guy. Like that didn't fit either.
Hmm.
No, exactly. So here's the viewpoint on it I take, right? Obviously, you have issues with, like, I don't want to call it my side of TikTok, right? Because I've been ostracized from that side of TikTok for addressing people by their preferred pronouns, and I address people as they, them, or she, her. I tell me how you want to identify. I don't care, right? I'll address you as such. Um, I've been ostracized by that side because I do that, right? Now that's not GC enough of me. Which I don't even think the word GC should be used anymore, because I don't feel like arguing on people's existence, right? You have the right to exist, and anyone is valid no matter what my opinion is, right? And I think that's something people have forgot. I have always been a firm believer in, if we address the other side's issues with us, they're going to be more willing and open to address like their issues or our issues with them.
Exactly.
Right. So
We
right now
can, you know,
I can't come to that side of TikTok and go, well, here's my issue, but I've done nothing for you. So but I'm expecting you to do something for me. Somebody has to be the one to take the first step and go, right, come to me, tell me your problems, provide me with, yeah, we're calling me out. This is a call out live on me, and I'm calling out Echo at the same time
Yeah.
because problematic. Just problematic. I'm not going to provide evidence of such, but problematic. Um, just two problematic people. Um, where was I? Yeah, like we can't just assume things anymore, right? And that was why I started holding the type of lives I host. I don't want a debate. I don't. I don't want you to come up and shout and scream at me and tell me I'm the most awful person in the world, right? I already know these things.
Mhm.
You know, I affirm myself in that every day of the week. What I want you to do is come up and go, well, I have an issue with this. Perfect. Okay. I have an issue with this. Wonderful. Perfect. Once I've addressed that and once we've come to not necessarily an understanding, but a middle ground where you can see where I'm coming from and I can see where you're coming from, are you not going to be more receptive to me turning around and going, well, this is my issue?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. That's all my lives are now.
Yep.
I,
So
I don't want to
what's
deny
the
people's
issue with
feelings.
trans women in women's sports?
I do think there is different levels. I don't think they should compete in the men's sports either.
Dana.
To be honest, as somebody who is entirely against sport as a whole, I don't think sport should exist.
I can't argue about that. I'm a sports addict.
Same.
Right? And I
I
find it
was a soccer
ridiculous
player
that
for
we,
14 years.
I find it ridiculous that we put these things into categories to begin with.
Yeah, it is actually. One of the things that's it's kind of funny about sports, right? They've been co-ed since the
You know, the example
they've
I
been
use for
co-ed.
this all the time is I used to box, right?
Yeah,
I am a 5'2" woman from Glasgow, right? I
yeah.
am
I'd be
willing to
afraid.
put money on I could take down any man,
I'd be afraid.
any man at all, right? But that's just like you say I would have given you the same answer if you'd asked me, do you think women should be in women's sports? No, I don't know why we have women's sports to begin with.
I mean,
Does that make sense?
I can't convince you in why we have sports. I know that human beings as a whole are competitive, and it has
Later,
been an
Mel.
outlet that has been created throughout history because of that. Instead of it kind of developed as a part of society where society they used to fight each other, and as societies became more civilized, instead they created sports to get out that
Exactly.
need for
I'm not even
competition.
arguing against sports. I'm arguing against why are sports gendered to begin with?
Well, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
so
Like
it's so stupid.
when it came to like competitive sports, the Greeks, like women had to fight back then to be allowed to compete in sports. And they were finally allowed, and then it was allowed forever. And then all of a sudden, white men decided that it didn't need to be allowed anymore.
No, entirely. And I'm gonna warn everybody now. This is gonna look absolutely crazy for the next 10 minutes. Bear with me, right? It takes a lot to look this good. Don't wake up every day and look like this. Um, no,
Just
like
appropriating womanhood.
I am appropriating womanhood right now, majorly.
Like me personally, I'm 100% for co-ed sports all across the board. I think it's ridiculous that we started splitting up. They play together, but in specific sports they don't. And then when it got to the collegiate level and we were looking at scholarships, they had to separate them for that. And then when it came to professional sports, they decided to separate them for that. Like it's all been men separating women out of their places where they want to be the best. And to like further push this narrative that we need to have these sports separated is further oppressing women. Um, and so to
Also, why are
like,
we spending so much money in the Super Bowl every year? Like, it just seems pretty pointless.
yeah, what's really
Although,
funny is you can go to watch some teams and pay thousands of dollars for tickets, and you can go to watch other teams for less than 100.
this is the thing, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be entirely open and honest with you right now. I would have paid to see this year's Super Bowl, but I'm a massive Kendrick fan, so I would have gone just for Kendrick. Right? The actual sport taking place.
A pretty awesome performance, that's for sure.
Oh, incredibly symbolic. If you didn't like it, then you don't get the premise behind it.
But I do think that it's pretty crappy that we put such a significant value on sports as an entertainment business rather than sports as a
Oh,
leisure event.
why would you want to watch a football game when you could watch this for free?
Right, exactly.
We're way more entertaining.
But I think that's a big problem, and usually the only place that people even have a problem with trans women being in sports is whenever it comes to being, or that sports are separated, is when it comes to being paid for it, or some sort of monetary value comes out of it.
No, like this is the thing, right? I'm never going to be able to go back to the side of TikTok I was on, right? Echo has actually indoctrinated me too much. Um, I have been indoctrinated, and I think they need to be called out for it.
That's okay. I'm working on Pippa.
Yeah.
If
Pip
No,
me and
and,
like,
Pippa
Pip and I
don't
are
do
had
actually
anymore,
it
mutuals
you're gonna
now.
have to come over here.
had it not been for, I'm gonna give you guys the credit here, but like Echo and Brookie turning around and going, well, hold on, right? Here's why we have an issue. We just want to live our lives. Right?
Yeah,
I don't actually like. I don't want to impede in anybody's space. I just want to be me. And I think a lot of gender criticals seem to forget. Well, that's exactly what gender criticals are just trying to do. We're all just trying to live in a world
Yeah.
together where we can disagree with each other on things, and I'm not feeling the need to go and make a Reddit post about this conversation calling you all the worst people in the world.
And my thing
um
is, like, I'm over the whole bathroom debate because there's so much more at stake. Like, they're literally pushing to take healthcare away from trans people. Like, when does that ever happen that we deny people healthcare and the medicine that they need between them and their medical professionals because of how we feel about them?
yeah, like ultimately, see, if you are a grown-ass adult, what you do with your own body is none of my concern.
Right.
Right?
And they're taking that
right.
away
It's
from
just
adults.
They're
men
taking it away from
taking
adults.
AB rights away from women, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Like
we live in a world where we have a
they
group
can
of gender criticals who claim to advocate for women, yet we live in a world where women are
so
actively having their
harmful
rights
to
taken.
women.
Like,
Like that's
I
always
will
been
come
my
out and say
issue.
it.
If you're
I
not
I feel it.
anti-woman, then I don't call you a gender critical because majority of the arguments that gender criticals are giving are so anti-women.
Incredibly. I don't know. It'll probably be my Reddit account that goes up on. I'll put it in my bio later. Just tag the Reddit account. Like, we just I don't see the point in it anymore. Like, we're not arguing for anything in particular. We're arguing now for the sake of arguing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it seems pointless, and I'm quite over it. Hence why I don't really host. You know, I'm never gonna be that the right. I'll be honest, right. I know the main reason why I get kicked outside the GC of TikTok, and that's because I absolutely agree that trans people have the right to exist. Right? I'm not fighting against the existence of a group of people just because I may slightly disagree with how they live, and it's not even a disagreement. I just don't understand it. Like, I can't empathize because I've never experienced that. I
Right.
can sympathize.
They-
I can't empathize with it, but like I then saw like a group of gender critical women holding a pro life flag, and I need you
Yeah.
to make it make sense. I need you to make it make sense because it no longer makes sense in my eyes.
of the other things that I noticed, I started to notice a lot about gender critical lives is how many men were on their panels running their lives.
Don't get me started in men and the gender critical side of TikTok. Just don't.
And the funny part is, like, they brought us. Ella and I have become like so close. Like, we talk casually now, like just almost like every other day. We're just messaging each other and whatever, just because they hate us so much.
Yeah, like the same
Right.
group of people you're the same two people you try to pit against each other
Mm-hmm.
to think that like I was gonna start holding call out lives on Echo and Echo was gonna start holding call out lives on me. We actually turned around and went, well, hold on a minute. And like
Mm-hmm.
I think I said it in my live last night when I used you as an example, Echo, was I had only ever seen your reaction to something. I had never seen what led you to react that way.
Right.
And had I actually just listened to your side of the story 6 months ago, right, I could have turned around then and said, well, hold on, like, your reaction seems pretty valid
Yeah.
based on how toxic my side of this community is. Hence why I'm glad they ostracized me. Like, if you want to be responsible for a hate crime, please be responsible for a hate crime. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. All I'm trying to do is like live my life and not sit here and have like self deletion thoughts regularly and just be able to be myself, express myself how I want. And that's it. Like, I just want to be able to live my authentic self. And I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not a threat to anyone. Like, everything I say and do has typically been reactionary.
I
Like,
don't know. I'm about to call you a danger to society.
yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
menace.
you're a danger to
Me
society.
too. No, I'm not.
You're a danger to society as well, but it's okay because I'm affirming you in this. It's fine.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
affirming you in that.
I'm
But this is the
probably
thing.
like the least.
That started as a joke. That
Yeah,
started as a joke. Now it's what I'm known for.
I think I'm probably like the least dangerous person.
probably.
I don't know. I'm 5'2" and from Glasgow, so
I'm 5'3.5"
like I
from
wouldn't
West
cross you.
Texas.
It's not a good idea. It ends very badly.
Oh my gosh, I saw this video of this lady working out and this guy was behind her and he like touched her glutamus maximus muscle
I wish I did.
and she
Yeah.
turned around like she had a weight in her hand and everything and she turned around and she said don't touch me there and she went to squat with the weight and he squatted with her and like grabbed a hold of her thighs. She turned around and gave him a 1 2 3. He was out on the floor and she turned around to his buddy and gave him one knock across the face and then roundhouse kicked him and he was on the floor. I said that's what you get.
Yep.
Like Echo, you and I have laughed about it for like 6 weeks at this point. Like my
Oh,
own
yeah.
side of the community didn't know how to come at me, so instead, let's just call her a trans woman.
Yeah. It's fucking comical.
And as Webby has said, and Webby in your comments has said several times in my lives, if she's a trans woman, then I need to go to a gay camp
Yep.
because that's
Just
not okay.
because Ella had a glow up and like fucking looks amazing, they're all jealous.
And you want to know something, right? This is how honest and real I'm going to be with you. I do actually have a half mil of lip filler.
Whoop de doo.
I'm going to sit back here and watch that get posted in the Reddit. Yep, I have had a half mil of lip filler. That is the only ever somewhat cosmetic work I've had done. The rest of this is all just me. This is just what my face looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the other thing about the GCs. Like, they're all always making comments about how masculine or feminine people look, and it's so harmful.
They look good and they feel good in who they are. And then you're going to use trans as an insult. Like, honey, trans is not an insult. We don't take that as an insult.
Oh my god, GV, this is like the fourth live I've been in today where you've been here. Like, you clearly care about me a lot. You've followed me all day.
That's weird.
Literally all day. And Flo, hold on a minute. Wait, if you're going to post this on Reddit, hold on. I just need to position myself correctly here.
Get a good picture.
Hope you got that screenshot. And because, yeah, I think what actually annoys them the most is that when I left the like GC side of TikTok, I took like 90% of my following with me.
Good.
Mhm.
I'm not bringing out the shark outfit. Thank you, Flo. Can you just like, you can tag me in that one?
And honestly, like, all I've ever asked is, like, let's step back from dehumanizing people. Let's have a middle ground conversation.
I don't care why people care so much about what people look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what? I didn't actually think, Echo, you had feelings.
Yeah.
You were an emotionless robot.
No, and I very much was. Like, that was the big thing with, like, even me taking HRT was because I used to very heavily suppress emotions and all that stuff. And it's like, mentally, psychologically, it has helped me. So why take that away from someone when that's all it's doing? It's helping me be myself and be better.
I have openly said it on my panel on multiple occasions. There's somebody out there who takes estrogen, who wants some estrogen. Have mine. Take mine. I'm not using it right now. Take all the estrogen you want.
It's not like it's a shortage.
I just don't see why anybody would have a problem with me cutting off my huge, humongous tits.
Honestly, I am affirming you, and that's go and do it. Go and do it. Go.
Now that's gonna be on Reddit.
Go and do it, because you know what, right? It was a weird thought that came into my head the other day, right? But see if they did want to take away synthetic hormones, right? Which, if you are taking away synthetic hormones, then you're taking like my birth control away from me, because that's a synthetic hormone.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we're not thinking about that, you know, are we? Like if they did do that, I have a solution to the problem, right? We've got trans men who want testosterone, we've got trans women who produce testosterone, and a trans man who produces estrogen. She wants the estrogen. Swap.
Trade.
There's got to be a way to do that. I'm gonna colonize that field of science. I'm gonna make a shit ton of money from it, and then 90% of it's gonna be donated to a trans rights group.
There we go.
And we'll start a GoFundMe page for Echo's lawyers.
Oh, I have legal stuff, so I've legal
You're not doing TikTok properly though if you're not grifting.
I know.
Yeah. That's one of the funny things is on our side, there's just really not a whole lot of grifters.
No. There's people that genuinely can use some help and everything. We've done fundraisers and we make it known that, hey, this person needs some help and we're raising funds to help them, whether it be like rent or food or whatever the case is, you know, gender affirming stuff. And we make it known that that's what it's for. It's not really to grift. Nobody's trying to scam anybody.
Any money I make on TikTok goes towards me buying little tiny outfits for my hamster.
W.
That's freaking adorable.
I need some joy in my life. Have you seen the people after? I have said, Echo, you heard me say it last night, right? I don't care who wants to come after me on TikTok. Come after me. Can I at least be pretty while you do it?
Right.
Like for the most part, like majority of the people that I know on our side, like the coins and stuff that we get, we all just push out at each other's lives with. That's all we do.
Yep.
Yeah, like I'll gift it back. You know, if I've got like, you know, like $5 or something, I'll gift it back. There's been a couple of like really big gifts I've got that I've gone, I'm gonna take half of that actually, because I was live for like 12 hours.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take something from this. But like ultimately, I'll gift it back. I'll let it sit in my account for like 4 weeks, and then I'll just gift it back to people. Because I have no reason for it. Like, I have a salary. I don't actually need this money.
Yeah, I make pretty good money that I don't worry about TikTok money. That's why I never ask people to go into gift. The live goal runs when I start, and it's usually like 100 coins, and then it's done. And I never change it really.
Like,
Until I've
I
had
don't know, like,
to
I'm
15
beginning to run
times.
out of funds flying halfway across the world every week to go for coffee dates with you. You know, since you and I are the best friends, you know, that's beginning to
Listen,
eat into my funds a little bit.
listen.
You have to start raising funds for that, Echo.
I know,
Start
right?
pushing the live a little bit more.
Although I'm a bougie bitch, I'll only fly first class.
W.
Gotta
All
have
right.
some standards in life.
It is
Okay.
4:30. I am gonna call it for a little bit, and then I'll be around.
Yeah, I have to hop down. I gotta go
Yeah,
back to my
I'm
mom.
gonna jump into Emma's live and then I'm probably gonna host my own call out tonight. So, you know,
There you go.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
I'll be
call
in there.
myself out.
Feel free to call me out if you need traction or anything.
I'm gonna call you out so hard. I'm gonna call you out. We'll be fine. I'm gonna call everybody out. It's gonna be good.
So did I convince you that trans women are women?
No, you did not, but you've got a year to do it.
I'm
You've
gonna
got a
I'm
year.
gonna get I'm gonna get you there one day. I'm gonna get
You've
you
got
there
a year
one
to
day.
do it.
All right. Y'all
I'll
have
send you
fun.
this.
Have a nice day, everyone.
You
Have
too,
fun.
Echo.